Okay, next segment is about historical figures. Now, this is the illusion that the movie gives you. The Bible uses the name of specific people. Some of these names have been verified in the archaeological or textual records. Inscriptions mentioning David have been found. Jesus Christ is referenced in early non-Christian texts, asserting the confirmation of many biblical figures. Philip Lindholm, listed as a scholar from Oxford University, claims for Book of Mormon figures. We have no evidence that they ever existed. Unmasking this. As with the previous discussion of textual traditions, the experts do not appear to understand the issues of Mesoamerican textual tradition. For the great majority of Mesoamerica, no adequate texts have survived to tell us about anything, let alone personal names. To date, the earliest name I can find is Yax'exuk, the founder of the Tikal lineage. In the absence of direct dating for his name, epigrapher Simon Martin and anthropologist Nikolai Krube deduce a time period around AD 90. This name comes from a king list, and the first contemporary data, that is, data that are not derived from delving into history, come from 82-92. The only people meriting mention are the kings or queens, and there are few of those. We do not find the Book of Mormon names in Maya inscriptions for two reasons. First, few inscriptions are contemporary with the Book of Mormon. Second, they come from cities that are not considered by Latter-day Saint scholars to have been Nephite. If the vast majority of names refer to the kings and queens of a particular location, and that location is not Nephite, we have little hope of finding reference to a Nephite name there. The Jesus Christ illusion. The film spends a good deal of time on the historical information confirming the existence of Jesus Christ in the Old World, contrasted directly to an absence of evidence for the appearance of Christ in the New World. According to Murphy, to claim that Jesus was a historical person here in the ancient Americas is rather absurd proposal. The narrator asks the other Latter-day Saint expert, Wilson, is it accurate to say that Jesus visited the Americas? Wilson responds, there is no evidence for that at all. The unmasking of this illusion. First, I must note that outside of the Book of Mormon's account, I would agree with Wilson. Proof of Christ's visit has not been found, and while some Latter-day Saints use the legends of Quetzalcoatl as evidence of cultural memory of his visit, I cannot discover any connection between those legends and Christ's appearance in the New World. Nevertheless, the lack of specific data about a particular person does not necessarily invalidate his or her existence. Doover explains the problem of assuming that archaeology can support a religious text. Both the Bible and the Book of Mormon share this issue, an issue on which this film is noticeably silent. The overwhelming archaeological evidence today of largely ingenious origins for early Israel leaves no room for an exodus from Egypt or a 40-year pilgrimage through the Sinai wilderness. A Moses-like figure may have existed somewhere in the southern Transjordan in the mid-late 13th century BC, where many scholars think the biblical tradition concerning the god Yahweh arose. But archaeology can do nothing to confirm such a figure as a historical personage, much less prove that he was the founder of latter Israelite religion. Archaeologists feel fortunate when they discover evidence of any named person. However, dealing with historical people is not the task that archaeology performs best. Archaeology deals with the physical remains from cultures, but deals with individuals only when texts are involved. Murphy is wrong when he opens. To claim that Jesus was a historical person here in the ancient America is rather absurd proposal. Without text dating to the time of Christ, the absence of evidence is to be expected. Murphy's statement may rest on his assumption that the appearance of Christ is absurd because he does not believe in the ability of a resurrected Christ to appear to men. However, if we believe in the New Testament's description of Christ appearing to various disciples after his death, nothing would prevent the same resurrected Christ from appearing to other individuals in a distant place. Clearly, Murphy was merely speaking derogatorily. A fascinating statement comes from Lindholm of Oxford University. I cannot understand how archaeological evidence and textual evidence can point to the historical reality of Christ in Palestine and yet be entirely lost in the New World. That statement embodies perhaps the entire vision of the film. If someone cannot understand something, it cannot be true. Lindholm appears to be unfamiliar with Mesoamerican ethnohistory. Why should we find the evidence of Christ in the Old World but not in the New? Because of the absence of contemporary texts. Lindholm's lack of understanding comes from the lack of relevant expertise. But the appearance of the Savior must have been so spectacular that everyone would have remembered it. At least we may think so. However, the Savior appeared only to the people gathered in one city, Bountiful, and to those who could assemble over the course of a single night. Out of the millions of people in the New World, the appearance came to a few thousand at best. Those were all believers. They certainly kept their tradition, but the Book of Mormon tells us that they were destroyed around 400 AD. Their memories would have died with them, save for their record, which we have as the Book of Mormon. What about other peoples? Should they not have retained at least a faint memory of God who descended? Again, we might think so, but assuming that ancient peoples did what we would do is naive. The ancient world was full of descended gods. Mythology in Mesoamerica has a large class of demigods or extra humans who come to this earth.